So today we will learn the summary of Bliss by Katherine Mansfield. Okay, so let's first see the characters of the story. The main character is Bertha Young, who is a woman of 30, Harry, who is Bertha's husband, and Little B, that is Bertha's baby daughter, and Mary, she is the servant, and Nanny, that is Little B's nurse, and then comes their dinner guests, their friends, Mr. and Mrs. Norman Knight, and then Eddie Warren, who is a poet, and then Pearl Fulton, a young beguiling blonde woman. Okay, so the story follows a dinner party given by Bertha Young and her husband Harry. The story starts with Bertha in a blissful mood as her party approaches, as she considers the specialness and unconventionality of her mood. The maid has prepared a colorful fruit tray for the party, which Bertha will arrange. The nanny is feeding the baby, who reluctantly lets Bertha hold her. The moment of connections with her daughter brings her more bliss. So, after a phone call from her husband, who is running late, Bertha thinks ahead to who will attend the party that evening. A couple, that is Mr. and Mrs. Norman Knight, who are the very close friends of Bertha and Harry, and Eddie Warren, who is a neurotic and sought after writer, and woman, Pearl, a strange, mysterious young woman that Bertha has taken a liking to after meeting at a club. As she prepares the drawing room cushions, Bertha recalls how Harry has declared that he finds Pearl dull. She is sure that there is much more to her. Her feeling of bliss continues as she hugs the cushions and looks over the balcony to a most perfect blossoming pear tree in the garden, which she imagines as a symbol of her own life. She lists to herself some of many aspects of her life she is grateful for and finds that her outfit is even reminiscent of the tree. Bertha sees the pear tree, which is white under the moon, becalmed against the jade green sky. She thinks that this matches her outfit also. She was wearing a white dress and a string of jade beads. She notes that this wasn't intentional but feels it is fitting because she views the pear tree as a symbol of her own life. Now, as the guest starts to arrive with Mr. and Mrs. Norman Knight calling each other's nicknames and Eddie complaining about his taxi, she notes their outfits and appreciates how attractive the company is. As Harry arrives late, she considers the charm of her husband's eccentricities. Pearl is the last to arrive, and as Bertha takes her arm to lead her to the dining room, she feels an intense yet unspoken intimacy with her guest. With everyone present, the meal begins. Compliments are paid regarding the food as theater is discussed, and Bertha is overcome again by a sense of bliss, delighting in the company as she has chosen. She thinks of the perfect pear tree in the moonlight in the garden as she wonders how she can feel so connected to Pearl. She is somehow sure that Pearl must be feeling the same. So after the dinner, Pearl asks if Bertha has a garden. She takes it as a sign of their connection and leads her to the garden window. Here she opens the curtain to reveal the pear tree and two women standing side by side, admiring its beauty and in a seemingly perfect moment of a mutual understanding and bliss. When the lights are snapped on and the moments end, they rejoin the group for coffee, cigarettes, and more lively conversations. Bertha thinks about how her husband is being quite rude to Pearl, which upsets Bertha. She decides that she will try to find a way to explain to him what she and Pearl have shared, but also realizes that soon the party will end. She fears she will be alone with her husband just by then. For the first time in her life, finds that she is also filled with desire for him. She wonders if this ardent feeling is what all her bliss has been leading up to. As guests begin to leave to catch their trains, taxis, Harry goes to help Pearl with her coat in the hallway, which Bertha appreciates considering his earlier brusqueness. In the drawing room, still, Bertha fetches a book for Eddie to borrow. As she turns her head to peer down the hallway, she sees Pearl and Harry in a romantic embrace, secretly arranging to see each other the next day. Not knowing they have been spotted, Pearl returns to the drawing room to say goodbye to Bertha and mentions the pear tree. So now, in all of a sudden, Bertha's bliss is now converted into utter confusion, and now she thinks about the future, that what should she do next.